Trying to have a bite to eat real quick. Need some gloves going. Oh, sorry, I'm usually set up for this, but I was getting a bunch of other stuff done first. I still had other lab work to do first, which was just a bunch of pulling LCs and stuff. So I figured that wouldn't be very exciting to watch. What's up, Rodman, Justin? What's up, guys? I don't know if you're both still in here or what. I'm gonna start getting some stuff out and ready. Try to keep an eye on the screen too. Adjust this just a little bit so I can see it a little better, hopefully. There we go. Some transfers to do as always. Just gonna start getting ready with stuff. Anyone who's in here? Oh yeah. Yeah, Justin. Nice to see you here. I am doing good. Just like I said, just got done pulling like about 150 LCs. Get that out of the way this morning. Plus, I had a bunch of shipping to do, so I've been going since about 4:45 this morning. So getting these things wiped down. Hopefully, some more people start showing up. You having a good weekend, man? Well, start to the weekend, I guess. It's just getting there. Yeah, hopefully some more people start showing up. But glad to see you've been looking forward to it. I have too. Been doing some of the lives on TikTok and Instagram. Those are kind of more spur of the moment though, so I know it's hard for people to show up. Because if you don't know what's going on, then obviously you got everything else in life going on, so totally get it. Oh, right on. That's cool. Still working on, yeah. I know. I'm sure you got lots of other ones going too and stuff, so I don't expect anyone to, always have a quick turnaround as far as, getting cultures right to fruiting and all that. It's cool. You don't have a lot of other ones going on, but I know you work a lot of different stuff too. I've seen a lot of your stuff, which you do some awesome stuff too, so that's what gets me more excited to see the people. I mean, I get excited to see what anyone does with them, but people that, I see their work and it impresses me, I get excited to see what they're able to do with some of the stuff that I send them and everything too. Get some stacks of plates out. Rodman, what's up, buddy? All these ready to go. Start knocking out some transfers. Cut down some of this. A lot of this stuff I already wiped down, so I'm not going too in depth. Like I said, I was already pulling LCs, got those out of the way. Got up early, got my shipping done. The goal is actually to, since I'm doing this extra lab work today, kind of knock out a bunch today and maybe take an easy morning tomorrow. See if that happens. Hey, Mushy Smile, what's up? Good morning. Oh, sorry to hear you're a little sick there, Rodman. Like this time of year, people tend to get a little bit of the gunk here and there. I've been pretty fortunate. I don't really get sick very often. Either I don't get sick or I don't slow down long enough to get sick. I don't know. Just took one from that one, but actually I wanted to take two, so get right back into there. So you're talking to Alan this morning, Ronman? Anything interesting? I'm assuming Mike O. Allen. I'm sure there's a few different Allens in the community. What do I consider stable? That's a good question. To be honest, I don't know that anything is ever truly stable. For me, I would start saying something stable if I've run it for 3 generations from spore and gotten consistent replication. Even with that, I mean, some of the cultures that are, even wild cultures that are, you know, just what they are and haven't even been really, worked or had a lot done to them, they're still going to look like a regular cube. Even from grow to grow, you're still going to have some oddities show up, you know, due to environmental factors and different things like that. So it's tough to say, really. But I would say if I run something from spore 3 generations in a row and I'm getting at least, 80% or so of consistent morphology, and I would say that's stable. Did I ever find out about the disaster last night? Yeah, we're not very stable ourselves, huh? No, what disaster last night? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm lost. Yeah, it is. It's tough to say what would really be stable. I mean, as far as I would say the 3 generations is stable, and I guess I base that off of if I'm going to release something like of my own work as stable, that's the point that I would take it to feel confident that at least the vast majority of time, without any sort of different environmental factors contributing, which they always will to an extent. But if I run it from spore 3 times and get the same thing, I'm confident that I've pretty much done what I could to stabilize it. And anything that happens from there is the variables of nature. And you can't always control that. I mean, we've seen even... Oh, gotcha, on Discord, sorry. Yeah, no, I don't know what happened with him, with Brahmin. It looked like, I don't know, it looked like he was harvesting something and the mutants fell or something, but I'm not really sure. He said he was looking forward to running it again, so I'm not really sure what all that meant. Yeah, back to the stable thing. Maybe I did finish what I was saying. Yeah, everyone, that term does get thrown around a lot. Oh, what I was going to say is even toque, toque. I've heard that's supposed to be pronounced another way. I don't know, but either way, I mean that went to the F7 and F8 before it was released, and still a lot of people were just having it blob out on them. So it's so tough to say. I mean, I kind of feel like nothing is ever completely stable, because if it was really stable, then it wouldn't be changing. But everything's always changing. That's how nature works. But I guess as far as that term is concerned, in mycology, if you're getting 80% of replication within your grows, where the phenotype is what's supposed to be expressed or what is expected to be expressed, that would be considered stable. Like I said, but for me, if it's my project, I wouldn't say that until I had done it from spore 3 times to feel confident enough that if people see a picture and they grow it, they want to get what they're supposed to get, and I don't want to be disappointed. That's why, I mean, I don't know, even selling swabs, like that's even so tough, because you're gonna get different genetic recombinations. It's gonna happen. You can take that thing to the 30th generation. By the time you take it to the 30th generation, some sort of variable has changed, and those variables can change the expression. I mean, that's epigenetics is proven. It's not bogus. It's science. It's been replicated over and over. If you're not familiar with that, look up Bruce Lipton. He's been doing it with cells for years now. I think about a decade, where he's taken literally the same cell and put it in 3 different environments. And in those 3 different environments, that cell will express as a bone cell. That cell will express as a tissue cell. And what's the other one? I might be wrong about the third one. I believe it might have been a blood cell, but with the same stem cell that had been stabilized, so to speak, and isolated, put it in 3 different growing mediums in 3 different environments, and it turned into 3 different things. Expected expression, new term unlocked. I like that. Made me feel like we're in a video game. New term unlocked. Oh yeah. All right, question. I was wondering about stability also. I have a haploid monoculture that I can't get to mate itself. When I put 2 transfers on a plate, they become 1. Would that be considered stabilized? So are you saying two of the same monoculture with itself? Or monokaryon, I guess. You gotta be careful with the terms too. Or haploid monoculture, I guess. So many of those things get used interchangeably. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing. 2 transfers of it together, and they become 1. So when you say become 1, are you saying like actually clamp together and become dikaryotic? I mean, I think a monokaryon. Yeah, that's even tough, because a monokaryon technically should remain a monokaryon unless there's some sort of other a dikaryon or another monokaryon introduced. If it's the same one, it shouldn't mate with itself, because if it would, then it would just become dikaryotic by itself. I believe. I could be wrong on that. I haven't really thought about it in that way, putting 2 of the same monokaryon together. I wouldn't believe that they would be compatible as a mating type. Because I've had a number of monokaryons as well that are confirmed monokaryons, to the point that I've even sent them to like several people and had them look under a scope to make sure that I'm seeing it right. And even with it being confirmed by 3 different pairs of eyes that there's no clamps, it's a monokaryon, and it won't mate with other ones. It won't mate with the dikaryon. It won't mate with another monokaryon. So I believe there's a lot of things that we don't understand when it comes to that, as far as like the loci and the alleles, because monokaryon. I mean, I've had it happen a number of times where certain monokaryons just don't want to mate with other stuff. Oh, and just a quick, this is my test plate of the supposed True Natalensis LC that I just got recently. Two haploid from the same. Okay, if they're two separate haploids, like you isolated a monokaryon here and a monokaryon here, not the exact same monokaryon, I believe those can mate. You would still be able to get different expressions from it because it's just like I don't know a great analogy really for it, but they should be able, well, unless they're incompatible, like I was saying. In theory, they should mate. They should be able to breed because it's just a single spore with a single spore. But some do, some don't. But if you're seeing them joined together, then I would say yeah. And I think with a lot of that stuff, the ultimate test is fruiting it and seeing what happens. And I'll say too that I've had a number of instances with Daimon crosses and Mon crosses where the initial fruiting looks exactly like one parent, and then if you go to a second generation or sometimes a third generation, really weird stuff happens where I thought this definitely nothing happened. I had done it with the Natalensis. That is, I haven't practiced the new name of it enough. Okra, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. With that one, I paired that with Maquila Gorilla. And the first generation that I ran from it looked just like the Nats. Nothing special, nothing at all. And I thought for sure nothing happened. I took spores from that and ran that, and these little stumpy Maquila Gorilla looking fruits came out. Had I not seen it myself, I would have been like, I must have screwed something up, or something happened that it's still something happened that I believe we're kind of like unaware of. The genetic recombinations that happen through those. Yeah, it's interesting. So I think the true test is fruiting them, and sometimes even fruiting them for a couple generations. And obviously, there's always a chance that within those couple generations, like if you have something that isn't quite as stable, you could just get some weirdos, and that might not necessarily mean that there was a cross that happened, but you might just get some weirdos because if you're using, some parent cultures that are more recent isolations that haven't been around for a long time, if you're using a Melmac and an ape, they consistently repeat. You might get some slight variation, but you're going to get pretty consistent repetition with those. Now, if you're taking, some of like my crosses or some other people's crosses that they've done in the past couple years that, have only gone to generation 5, 6, there's a chance you might just get some freaking weird stuff at that point even because you're pulling out the, I can't think of the right word. Brain fart. The recessive traits. The more you're going, you're pulling out different recessive traits. So there's always a chance that you're just going to get some weird stuff. It's always in there. I mean, the combination of genetics that are within a golden teacher, you can find anything and everything that we've crossed and we've done. I believe, and that's with my knowledge of and understanding of quantum physics and a lot of that, because within a single drop, there's all the genetics of everything. So, the as within, so without. If it's out there, it's also in there. That applies to humans and everything. Oh, what's up, man? Hypomine, Jonathan. Thank you for joining us. And here's the psilocybe in jelly. I haven't really looked into this one much yet, but as I told some of the people in my Discord chats and stuff, it's just a very small group. It's more like a group chat, not really a Discord as you would consider it compared to a lot of others. Wasn't really looking for these, but got an offer I couldn't refuse. Not that takes much because I like mushrooms, so. court documents when you were a while. Oh boy. 3 months just for that? I mean, I know some places are even stricter, but that is insanity to me. I know that doesn't mean anything in the court, but to me, it's still insane. Shouldn't ever be prosecuted for fucking possessing nature. Brahman, you made it. You're able to drag yourself out of bed. And you can clue us in now on what that catastrophe was. Me and Rodman were just talking about that with that picture you sent. We couldn't figure out, did you drop fruit? What happened there? And Justin, if I didn't clarify everything you were asking, please ask more. I'll try to go into more detail. I'm sure I'll be jumping back and forth from different comments and stuff. So, yeah, if you need to get me back on track, just shout it out in the chat, and we'll get back on topic if need be. I don't want anyone to feel like the whole point of this is to get questions answered if I can. Answer them as best of my ability, and hopefully get some feedback from you guys too, and we can come up with some collective answers and stuff. I don't know if it's like inaccuracies with the YouTube live, but like I see that there's obviously a few people in here chatting, but it keeps like bouncing up and down from like 0 people to 5 people to 3 people on my end. So I guess I can't trust that. Alan, what's up, buddy? Glad you could make it. A grain bag going to grow back. Oh, so that was colonized grain. Dude, I thought that was like a big chunk of like lion's mane or something, or enigma, or I wasn't really sure, honestly. I probably would have picked up a chunk that didn't touch the floor and still sent it. Not gonna lie. Colonized grain at that point has built at least some sort of immune system. But that's me. I'll send a lot of shit just to see what happens. Because I'll be honest, I've sent some jars before that I'm like, I don't know. And it fruited just fine. I was having a discussion yesterday with someone about some of that too, like the bacteria and things like that. We were talking about cleaning stuff up, and he had confirmed that after working with some different people and figuring out some different stuff, that the whole low nutrient thing for cleaning up cultures, they found actually to be counterproductive in a lot of ways, because without the nutrients, it allows the bacteria to hide better. And he was saying what he started doing is actually really high nutrient plates to clean stuff up. And that mycelium, because it takes off on there, and you'll really get to see it separate and be able to pick out the good stuff, which for me, I've done trenching. Still working on them. Sorry, I start talking and I look at the comments and I get completely sidetracked. But cool, Alan. Yeah, you're still working on the moon dance and other stuff. Yeah, cool. No worries at all. Take your time. Get to them when you get to them. As I was just saying to some other people too, like I know everyone has a lot of stuff going on, so I know everyone doesn't get to everything right away, and that's totally fine. But yeah, as far as the cleaning up stuff, like we were talking about that, and here's actually one that I had done. When I do trenching, I like to put it right in the middle. And I cut a circle all the way around it, cut a strip. We put it basically on an island, and that way, wherever the strongest growth is coming from, that's going to get to that edge and jump across there. And as far as like the low nutrient versus high nutrient, I've never really liked low nutrient plates. I don't know, I always had better look. I don't do high nutrient on all my stuff, but I guess I do like a little above mid-level, because I usually do 11 to 13 grams of LME and a gram of nutritional yeast, up to 1.5 grams, 2 grams of nutritional yeast in a liter. Justin. Thank you. Just maybe click for me. Oh, awesome. Yeah, that would be my thought. I agree with the alleles not being compatible. So it's like they might meet up, but they might not actually, exchange that genetic information. And I could get into some stuff with some of that too that will go against probably what pretty much everyone else has told you. And I'm not just saying to Justin or anyone, I'm just saying in general, as far as like the alleles and monokaryons, dikaryons, all of it. I'm sure some of you have seen the write-up that I had put out there, the little stuff that I did as far as the hyphal anastomosis. And I don't know. It's the best explanation that I've found documented for what I have witnessed over and over again to happen when putting two dikaryons together. And it's not technically breeding or mating because it's not a one-to-one nuclear exchange, but there is tons of documentation all throughout the Basidiomycota documenting that dikaryotic, or what is even referred to as heterokaryotic, when they're in a vegetative state, can exchange genetic information through several different mechanisms. Oh, thanks, Alan. Good reminder. Yeah, hit the like and subscribe and all that. Thank you for the reminder for that. Yes, I'm bad at reminding people for that too. I just get talking about mushrooms and forget about the whole creator and content side of things. But real quick, jumping back to the cleaning up plates and that. Yeah, I like to do like I'll put the transfer right in the middle of the plate and trench all the way around it. Basically, put it on a little island. And I think with like the mid-level or higher level of nutrients, mycelium wants to get to that other side so badly, and it's a lot more aggressive than most bacteria and other things. So it'll jump that real quick. And with doing instead of just like a one single area as a trench, doing the whole thing with that transfer, no matter where the most aggressive spot is, that's going to be the first spot to get across there and outrun everything. And for me, it's worked out very well as far as cleaning stuff up. I'll even occasionally I get these plates because I pour thin, or I just have like a little spot, so you can see that. And I'll take some of my cultures that may not even be like contaminated by any means. Maybe they're just staying really tomentose or just not really taking off. And I'll just transfer that over here. Just having that gap, I don't know. I don't have an explanation scientifically for it, but it somehow makes them fight a little bit. It's just that little bit of stress to find like where they're going or something. But I've had it turn several cultures that are kind of slow and tomentose to a little bit more rhizo and a little more aggressive. So something cool to play with. See if it serves for any of you. The will to survive, yes, exactly. No, the thing is, as soon as we have words for something that happens, it actually will evolve. That's how nature works. It's like, when you're a kid and you're learning stuff and you're learning math and you learn addition and you're like, damn, I get it all. I understand it all now. And then someone goes, well, what about multiplication? Oh, shit, new door opened. Or as Rodman would put it, new door unlocked. New portal unlocked. And this is exactly how life works with everything. As soon as you know something, you have opened the door to more knowledge. That's why knowledge is power. Knowledge can also be a huge hindrance if you think you know it all, though. That's something that unfortunately a lot of people get stuck in. They get to a certain point, and I found especially a lot of people who spend a lot of years in the books or in school. It's just a really cool looking plate here. Eclipse. This one was a gift from someone. Actually, Controlled Chaos Genetics sent me this a while back. It looks really awesome on agar, but fruiting it was just kind of like a normal cube looking thing, so wasn't real impressed with it. But there again, I'm sure if someone took just this one culture and worked it, I have no doubt you could pull out some stuff comparable to some Enigma, some apes. It's all in there. You gotta stress it the right way, or show it the right love, or the combination of the two. A lot of these, what I'm doing, I'm just getting some fresh transfers, because I never really had great luck putting cultures in the fridge, but I'm kind of playing around with that a little bit again. I got the long-term water storage going on for long term, but I'm just kind of playing around with it again, seeing if I always end up getting a lot of condensation and stuff, which I wasn't real happy with. So I have a fridge dedicated to just my mycology stuff, so I've adjusted the temperature a little bit to a little higher, trying to keep it in like the high 40s, almost 50-ish, and see what it'll do from there. So here's a culture. It's clean, but it's very tomentose. It's Dwarf King, and it's really aggressive once it hits the grain too. So sometimes those tomentose ones, I was talking to someone recently who was putting a lot of time trying to get certain cultures to go rhizo. I said, well, have you put it to grain at all? It was actually a Timbit culture that he got from me. He's like, no, I thought I needed to get it all rhizo before, so it was really aggressive. I said, oh, put that shit to grain. It'll be good and aggressive. And then like a week and a half later, he sent me a picture of his grain bag, like half colonized in like 2.5-3 days. So, and sometimes it's just a nutrient profile. Sometimes certain ones like different nutrient profiles, and you know, it's if you really want to work to get it to go rhizo, just to look good on agar, that's cool, but it's not always necessary. I think a lot of times it's not necessary. The rhizomorphic growth in most cases is actually the reason we go for that is on agar to clean stuff up, because when you get those ropes, then you can see the little differences in any spot. They stand out so you can find contamination. Oh yeah, the wiping towel. Yeah, because you know sometimes you get like little chunks of the agar on there, and then it just ends up creating a bunch of like debris and everything. And I try to keep everything as clean as possible. So that's my way of doing it. Okay. Oh, Brahman, love CC. I think we hit it off, but maybe he talks with every customer. No, he's a cool dude. He stays really busy. He like works a lot with his normal job too. But me and him are trying to hook up actually to do another Spore Swap podcast. We've been talking all week about it, and he works a lot until like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and I told him usually by 4 or 5 in the afternoon. That time I try to keep that open and free for like family time and stuff, because most of the rest of my time is spent with mycology and business stuff. So I try not to, and usually by that time of day I'm just not as enthusiastic, and I don't want to be on the podcast that I do every great once in a while and just kind of be like in a lull. Alan would be more than welcome to join. Of course. It's just a small group of people, basically. I don't know if you may or may not have seen the post that I put out like a couple months ago, basically trying to get a team together. And it's basically just trying to get a good quality group of people together to work genetics, because as you can probably tell from a lot of my stuff, I can't stop creating more, and it's a lot to keep up. It's too much for me to keep up with, to be honest. I don't want to admit it, but it is, and that's why I finally had to come to terms with that and start getting a group of people together, and basically, just get different people that are interested. And I put out a list of all the projects that I have started. Some that are on the first generation, some that a little bit further in, but just trying to get people to help out, and collectively we can work on a lot more stuff than I can just by myself. Oh, right on. Yeah, I remember you saying you got a new job. Hopefully that's going well. Hopefully enough to surplus the income but not drain you. Enjoying your personal life. But yeah, if you'd be down, that would be cool. And there's no real some people I think were kind of intimidated at first, because some of the people in there, it's just a small group at this point, like maybe 15 people. But some people were like, yeah, I want 5 genetics to work. And then other ones messaged me and were like, I don't know that I can work 5 at a time. And I'm like, that's fine. You want to work 1. That's totally cool with me. You pick 1 and you have at it. That's sweet. That's one that I can check off my list for now and let someone else have at it, and try to focus on the rest of my stuff. Oh, yeah, damn. Yeah, so you work 10 hours a day too, huh, Brahman? Yeah, I feel very fortunate. I got into all of this right when all the COVID shit was going down, and kind of went full throttle, and didn't really have a choice because I was losing my job anyway. So I saw an opportunity with this to really go at it, and that's what I've done. This is a real pretty plate too. Some Dirty South Ghost. I've run this a few times. I don't know. I've been, I don't know. I feel kind of weird about releasing it. Like, there's part of me that wants to. I wasn't close with him at all. I didn't really know him. So, I don't know. I've thought about some different ways. It's one of those double-edged swords, because like I feel like holding on to it, not releasing it, kind of sucks, because then it doesn't get out in the community as much as it could. And I would think that anyone, no matter the situation, want their genetics out in the community. But being that he passed away and everything, I don't want anyone to take it the wrong way. Like, I'm trying to capitalize off that shit. So I've thought about just putting it on the menu as like a freebie kind of thing. And I don't know. There's just then there's people that say, well, why are you just giving it away for free? It's what, you don't think it's good? Like, there's always someone to talk shit about it. So that's why I just haven't done anything with it other than just run it myself. Oh, that's awesome. We got a new 2x4 flow hood. Hell yeah. Nice. No dumb questions. What are your thoughts on music and certain frequencies while growing? Do you believe music affects growth, or maybe even possibly influence growth in different, like, absolutely. I don't think there's any way that it doesn't. Everything is frequency and energy. That's why I named my company The Fungus Frequency. Previous to even really getting into mushrooms, I really got into quantum physics, studying a lot of Nikola Tesla and a lot of older sciences that have kind of been forgotten or maybe hidden a little bit. And I absolutely believe that frequency has a huge ordeal to play with it. I can't say that I've taken the same culture and played some hip hop to it and then played some jazz to it and it expressed differently. I haven't done thorough experiments like that. Although I do believe if you watch close enough, you'd be able to see something different. But I absolutely believe in the energy and frequency of music and everything. Hence part of the reason that I've changed my musical taste big time over the years. And nothing against any form of music. I think you can get what you need from it if it's your thing. Um, but yeah, I used to be like a diehard metalhead and everything, and that was my younger aggressive years. And I still like it from time to time, but I really like good uplifting stuff with happy, uplifting lyrics, positive stuff. It makes me feel better, and it seems to make the mushrooms feel better. And I've noticed when I've had little periods of time in life where shit just wasn't going great, my cultures do not perform as well for me. My grows do not perform as well for me. And I've literally had to force myself to step away and pull myself out of the lab for a few days and get myself back in check. And when I've done that, I've gotten exactly the response that I was going for. And I have no doubt that that played a pivotal role in all of that. And based on those energies and all that kind of stuff, there's actually I've been very particular from the beginning as far as well, I'll just throw it out there like this, and if anyone wants to know more, they'll ask. There's certain people in the community that I won't even accept cultures from. They've sent them to me, and I won't run them. Or other ones that I just don't deal with because their energy, their vibe, and when I see them talking shit all the time to other people, I don't want anything to do with that. Take it as you will. Everyone has their opinions, and I wish them the best. I don't wish any harm on them or any bad on them or anything like that. But it's just that energy, that vibe is not for me. I scroll back up here because I'm missing some stuff. Had to go off on the tangent about frequency and energy, but I think that's very pivotal, though, and important. Back to Justin's comment. Fascinating, you could send the same culture to 10 different people, and you could end up with 10 different phenotypical characteristics just because of differences in grow environments. Absolutely, without a doubt. Me and my buddy Kyle at Side Team United, if anyone's familiar with him on Instagram, he was actually my mentor as I was first getting going, and he had been in it for just a couple years. But so he was learning, and he's like me, he's always learning more. So that's what I appreciated. So we were on the path together, and he taught me a lot though, and helped me out a lot in the beginning. After many failed attempts on my own, because I had someone else who had offered to be a mentor, and they had some of their own personal issues going on with some depression and drugs and things, and just so happened a lot of times when I would get to those points where I needed help or wanted help, they weren't available, and so I failed a lot in the beginning, but I learned all the wrong ways of how to do stuff, so that helped me. But yeah, Kyle and me noticed way back a few years ago that the same thing you're saying, like, and certain people too, if you watch, like, he's bred a lot of different ones, I've bred a lot of different ones, and yet even with breeding, our creations tend to have like a similar feel. Like mine don't look like his don't look like mine. Even if we took the same two cultures and put them together, what he got out of that cross would not be what I got out of that cross. And I believe there's a lot to that. Like you're pointing out, Justin, 10 different people. And I think the environment, we look at the environment and a lot of times exclude ourselves from that environment as a big, big part of that environment. But, when we're in a state of love or in a state of higher energy, we have an aura, an energy aura that is scientifically documented. It's not bogus. It's not bullshit. There's plenty of people out there doing this kind of work that extends 10 feet from our body up to probably further. Yet again, we only know what we know and probably don't know a lot more than what we know. Oh, without a doubt, we don't know more than we know. And so the environment definitely includes us and the field that we have going on and everything like that. So definitely agree with you on that. 10 different people, you get 10 different things. And that's why when we go back to that stabilized thing, it's so tough to say because everyone's going to have a different influence on it. And that's going to change how it expresses big time. These other comment, Mushy Mile. Good point. I dig feeding mind some good vibrations. Feeds me too. Absolutely. I even I'll do mantras and stuff when I'm mixing up bags, when I'm spawning bags and stuff like that. I sing to them. I even got to the point at one point I have a little device. It's called a Healy that I got like 4 years ago or so, and it's a resonance frequency resonance device. It kind of piggybacks off of, if anyone's familiar with what's his name? His last name's Rife, R-I-F-E. William Rife? Raymond Rife, that's what it was. Raymond Rife. it was back in like the 50s or maybe earlier, he had scientifically documented and found different frequencies that would heal basically every ailment, including cancer. Hopefully I don't get banned on YouTube from saying all this shit. But you can look it up. Go look it up if you don't believe me. Find the stuff. I prefer you don't believe me. Go look it up for yourself, because then you'll actually believe it. Just listening to someone else, then you're just being convinced. It's better to go look up the information yourself, find all of it, and truly feel like you know it because you took the time to learn it. Yeah, so I even played around with that early on with when I would have contaminated stuff, and I would put that near it and play different frequencies and stuff. And I did notice sometimes that tubs that I would think were completely gone, they were contaminated. It didn't completely turn around, but I would get some stuff popping in there. Now, obviously, I didn't trial and error and clinical trial it, 100 times over to prove without a doubt that that's what did it. So I can't say that, but there's definitely something to it. Yeah. Rodman. There's a company that creates grow boxes with built-in speakers and seem to spread faster listening to crickets. Oh, I don't doubt it. I mean, there's devices now they got that can pull the music, I guess it's music is the best word for it, from the mushrooms. I'm sure you guys have probably seen that popping up on a Instagram or feed or something somewhere. Little devices that do that. Exactly, Brahmin Shaman. The fungus frequency, quantum entanglement. Absolutely. Michael Allen. Probably behind on some of these comments. I'm going to hold off on the lab work for a second, try to catch up on these comments. Thinking of trying the 490 to 720 hertz tone in my lab for several hours, day 2. I love those frequencies for nighttime psychedelic experiences. Absolutely. Yeah, mess around with those. I got like the ceramic singing bowls and stuff that I'll play too and just keep going sometimes. So I'm in here in the lab hanging out. Jonathan, got to break my bad habit saying I'm about to ask a dumb question because I'm full of unanswered questions. Yeah, no dumb questions. No dumb questions. I suffered from that affliction myself as a kid. I always have questions and questions and questions, and hard to get over that. Oh, what's up? Is that it says Earthcelium? Maybe? I'm guessing. Either way, what's up? I'm guessing that's you. Cool. Oh yeah, shaman. No, yeah. There's science is what we call science now is very media driven and very money driven. Everything we do is science. Every time you try something and see what happens, that's science. The people that tell you don't have a degree so you aren't a scientist, that's fucking bullshit. That's some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard. And that's yet going back to some of those people who think they know it all and stuff. Anyone who's got to tell someone else, you got to tell someone else that you don't know what you're talking about, then you're missing everything. Because every person you come in contact with, every single one, even the ones that just pass you on the street and you glance at them, they got something in them that you aren't fully aware of, and you can learn from it. So anyone that closes that out is very much limiting themselves. Right on, yeah, Aracelium. Nice, glad to have you here. No, you're not crazy at all. Yeah. Yes, live science. Life is science. One big experiment. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I say experiment with playing whatever. We'll do all sorts of stuff. I've heard too that, and I again play with it a little bit myself. The lower bass tones are known to, without a doubt, affect the mycelium. Now, as far as direct and how, obviously it's not clinically and all that trial, but because like anyone who's familiar with shiitake, when you fruit shiitake, you do a cold shock for it, it simulates like the weather change, and then you actually smack the block a couple times, and that simulates like where it would be on a tree and the tree would fall, and then it would start fruiting. So that vibration of smacking the block is partially what initiates the printing process. I'm sure it probably would, just with the right conditions without that, but I've always done it with my shiitake blocks and had good luck, so I'll continue to do it. Oh, this chupacabra plate looks sick. This is one that I feel bad even cutting into, but it's got to be done. Smell. Boom. When you tell a person they don't know what they're talking about, it simply doesn't comprehend yet at that level. Long, low tones for experiencing the fruits. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, storm signal. Yeah, I mean, that's how these things work in nature. We're just trying to replicate it. And obviously, in all honesty, we do a pretty poor job because we give them like this real sterile environment and everything. And that was something I was going to touch on too, with like cleaning up plates and all that. Another thing that we haven't confirmed yet, so to speak, but I would bet money that even though we're doing all this sterile work and everything, that there's bacteria and viruses and maybe parasites on some of them. Parasites is usually like the last ditch effort of immune system to get rid of whatever the ailment is. So I think in most cases it's probably not parasitic, but bacterial and viruses, I think are there's lots of them that we know are symbiotic with with us. I mean, we are bacteria. We are bacteria and viruses. That's what we're fucking made of, is germs and everything. So people that are scared of all that, that's where, in my opinion, a lot of autoimmune disorders come from, because the only way your body is going to attack itself is if you're telling it that there's something inside it that it should be scared of. Somewhere in there lies that fear. And with the mushrooms, I think a lot of the weird morphologies and shit we get, some of the enigmas and even some squats and things like that. If you clean it up too much, that morphology is going to change. I think that's due to the stress or the symbiotic relationship of that bacteria, virus, whatever it may be. And the fact is, too, something that might not even start out as a symbiotic relationship could turn into it. And there's even tons of documented cases of what's called horizontal gene exchange as compared to vertical gene exchange, which comes from like hereditary and parents and children and whatnot. But there's documented cases of bacteria, genetics spreading to surrounding plants without actually coming in physical contact. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I did see the comment from Rodman about your mom studied the rife stuff back in the day or something years ago. That's awesome. That's really cool shit. Exactly, yeah. As humans, we're just on a big petri dish. We basically are the, I mean, it's hard for some people to understand or to look at it that way, but like, it really is, as they say, within an ocean, or within a single drop of an ocean lies everything that's within that entire ocean. And that applies to everything. That's how we even understand how cells and atoms in the universe works, is by realizing that and putting the, as within, so without on the micro, like the macro, it all correlates and corresponds completely. That's how we understand, even nuclear fission and all that stuff, is by using those kind of understandings. Oh man, I hate when that happens, when I go to get a nice piece of chunky mycelium and then it just like folds over. Yeah, the pasteurization versus sterilization. Although, I gotta say, for me personally, now I haven't done it in a while, and I run with the manure in my substrate, so I do still sterilize mine. But that being said, I also use Dr. Mike's MGP Plus, which is full of those beneficial microorganisms and bacteria, and I spray that on my grain when I spawn. And since I started doing that, I have not seen trichoderma in a bag or a tub in at least a year, year and a half, ever. I'll let them flush 4 or 5 times if there's enough moisture in there. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it is a nice little space. I've made it work. I actually just got this flow hood. It hasn't even been a year. I got this in like March or April. Ordered it from Alibaba from China. Took 3 months to get here, but for the deal I got, it was worth it. You basically buy it unbranded, and then I was able to get 2 of them. Which I only used 1. I was hoping to sell 1 locally, and then the person who was going to buy it didn't end up wanting to buy it. But I was able to get 2 of them for, it was like $750. But before that, I was working with a little 2x2 flow hood, and before that, I was working in a still air box for quite a while. And the 2x4, or no, I said 2x4. It was a 2x2 flow hood, or did I say 2x2? I don't know. It was a 2x2. That's what I was working with for quite a while. Yeah, I do use nutritional yeast in my agar. The MGP Plus is straight from Dr. Mike. He has a website. I believe you can buy it on Amazon now. I don't know what's all available to you over there in Germany. That's where you're at, right? I believe so. Should be, because I think I just, yeah, I didn't message you yet, but I sent out that other freebie pack this morning. So, yeah, so I'm not sure where the best place to buy it from for you is. I believe he ships internationally, I would think, just knowing him. Especially because it's nothing that's even like borderline on the legalities end of things. Yeah, and the nutritional yeast I use, I actually I use the it's like cheap store-bought stuff, like grocery store. I had bought the lab grade stuff, and it's clearer in your agar dishes. Mine, if anyone's gotten any, you'll notice like the little flecks in there. And I grind it up in a coffee grinder and stuff. Maybe if I boiled it all or something first, but I just throw it all in the media jar and then pressure cook it. And when I was first getting into like the microscopy work with the microscope and everything, I was thinking that the little specks and stuff would be annoying trying to see clamps and whatnot with it, but they're so much bigger than what you're looking at in like the tiny clamp like size that it doesn't make a difference at all. And yeah, I don't know if you can really see some of them in there. Another plate maybe has some more. Kind of see some of the specks in there, but yeah. When I used the lab grade stuff, my mycelium didn't like it as much. A lot of my stuff went really tomentose. Yeah, some more goodies for you. I appreciate, when shit happens, pages going down, things like that. And like, I don't hold it against anyone who, I know how it is. There's lots of people in the community, and it's impossible to keep up with. When someone's page goes down, always give them a shout out and trying to help them build back up. Like I try my best with a lot of people, and I'm sure I miss them too. So I don't ever hold it against anyone for not doing that, because I know life just happens and you're most likely just busy doing other shit. But for the people that jump on that and help out with that, I feel like showing appreciation for it. So usually when people do that, they get some free shit. Especially with the way Instagram and Facebook and all that has gone in the past 6 months or so. I used to be doing giveaways every single week on Facebook and Instagram, and be giving away 10 to 20 plates every single week. And now I feel like I don't even have enough outlets to give away enough stuff, because I feel like if I keep doing them on the same spots, like it ends up being the same people over and over sometimes, and like that's cool too. But I know a lot of times, like, most people aren't like me, and they're not going to try to work 50 cultures at the same time. So once they have 5 or 10, like, they're set for quite a while. So just keep sending them more, like, then those cultures are probably just going to sit there like they would here. And I'd rather try to get into people who utilize them. That's part of the reason I even hopped over on TikTok about 6 months ago and started doing some stuff over there, which has turned out pretty well. But I don't know, it looks like that might be gone tomorrow anyway, the whole TikTok thing. Find out. Yeah, all the guidelines on there. Unfortunately, it's hard to keep everyone close and create a community. But that's why I got the Patreon going. And then, the Discord, like I said, is mainly just a little group chat for people who really just want to work the genetics. And the reason I've kept it that way so far is because I'm a complete newbie with Discord, and without knowing how to moderate that stuff, you can end up with a shit ton of people really quick, and it would lose the whole vibe of what I'm going for, because it wouldn't be all the people that are just about the same stuff, and I don't have time to moderate all that and keep track of it among all the other stuff that I got going on. But eventually it would be nice to have a Discord like that. If maybe eventually I'll come across someone who's just interested in helping run it in that aspect, and knows what they're doing, has experience with it. But I'm sure it'll work out organically in time. But for now, the Patreon's really cool because I'm able to set it up with, like, there's the pay subscription part of it. Oh, lost a piece of my glove. But most people have their set up at like $10, $20, and $30 for like the different tiers. I didn't want to do that, so I just did 3, 6, and 9. Patreon actually, when I did that, like, red flagged me in my setup process and basically said you're making it too cheap. Said you should make it higher or else you're not going to make money. I'm not trying to really make money off of it. Like, don't get me wrong, have a little cool extra cash in there. It's cool. I haven't actually even taken any money out of it. Thankfully, I haven't been in a position where I needed it. But by putting it behind a paywall like that on a platform like that, they're not going to yank your stuff down because they're making money off of it. They take a commission off of all of it too. So you send in some plates, a little over ambitious. Hey, that happens. So good for you to turn around and get back. I've had people, that want a giveaway or something I sent stuff to, and then they've reached out to me and been like, listen, do you care if I re-gift these? Because I just have too much on my plate right now. And that answer is always absolutely not. I would never care. I sent them to you. You do what you want with them. And I love to hear that someone's going to re-gift them instead of feeling obligated or something to try and work them, and they just don't have the time. And I'd rather people helping each other out and sharing that stuff. That's what it's all about. Another really sick looking plate here, some Casper. I feel like never does it justice on the video camera. Probably because there's not great lighting specifically on that, but you get the idea. So the questions anyone got? Anything think of right now? I appreciate all the questions and feedback, and it's crazy because like I've done the lives, like I said, on Instagram, TikTok a little bit, and I started doing the transfers, and before I know it, I'm like just talking and talking, and then I'm done. I'm like, wait, I don't even feel like I really did anything. So I appreciate you guys being here to chit chat and everything. Got some more genetics than I could ever work. For me, jumping on the team was about finding a team and community. If there's cliques you can't get in, or they're just really big group. Yeah, I hear you on that, and that's part of the reason I don't want to let it get too big, because I feel like there's like a different energy that overtakes then. That small group energy is where it's at. Where everyone's got your back. No one's gonna shit talk you at all. Period. Ever. I've been invited and been in groups back, especially when Facebook was going. I joined up with different groups as like kind of promotional stuff. Some of the people I was friends with then, and it was like within a day or two of being in some of those groups. And man, I'll tell you this: some of the people in the community who put on a big fucking front, and act like they're the fucking nicest people in the world. You get them on a private conversation, and they will talk shit about every fucking person. And that shit, I'm getting chills now talking about it because, such a turnoff. Such a turnoff to me. Some were ones that I was really good friends with at some points, and then when I wasn't, it was kind of it was actually really tough because I thought we were such good friends. But now looking back, it was such a blessing in disguise to get out of that connection. Right, Brahman? Yeah, I hear you. Usually becomes Discord subgroups with the ones I've been a part of. Yeah, I'm sure within like the group where there's little channels and stuff where like just those ones kind of, and that's kind of I had a channel in a bigger one at one point, and that's what I was kind of trying to do with it, but then that person flipped the script on me, gave me the boot, blacklisted me, talked a lot of shit, and like I said, then I thought back to many of our conversations and thought to myself, man, if anyone knew this guy in private, they would never go on his podcast. Oh, maybe I said too much there. I don't really care because it's the truth. I don't want to get into shit talking though. But if anyone has an inkling or wants to know, I also won't keep that information because it's absolute 100% truth. Yep. You know, Brahman. Emoji, my favorite cross. Ooh. I mean, I only have like 140, so let me just pick one. Out of my children, let me pick my favorite. No. I would probably, if gun to my head, had to pick one, I'd probably go with Natal Moon. for multiple reasons. For one, it was one of my early ones that it's just all around the mushroom itself is one of my favorites. The experience from the mushroom itself is one of my favorites. The diversity of it is one of my favorites. And there again, when I crossed Phobos and Natalensis, which is now, like I said, I haven't practiced that new name enough. Ochrocentria casata capadalata de bubadata. I don't know what the hell it is, but you all know what I'm talking about. The Natalensis that is no longer Natalensis. I crossed that with Phobos. At the time, I was still pretty new, and I didn't really know actually that it was at the time technically considered different species, and therefore shouldn't be able to cross with cubensis. But my take on it was just as a newer guy who was growing mushrooms, I kept telling people I don't think it's that different. I think it's pretty similar. And so I swabbed a couple of fruits together, Phobos and Natalensis, and got something that was not Phobos and was not Natalensis. And the biggest learning process for me with that was the hate that I got from the community. I was having memes made about me. I was banned from certain groups. And oh, what's up? Gotta hop off. All right, on, man. We'll catch you later, Rodman. Yeah, go help your mom. Have fun. Enjoy your day. Chat with you later, I'm sure. Yeah, I guess I should just call it okra. Maybe that'd be better. Yeah, so I crossed those two and then got a lot of lashback from the community telling me I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. I didn't know what I was doing. Some certain specific people in certain bigger groups who I was even pretty aware at the time once I saw what was going on. We're promoting a certain individual as having the first ever cross of those two things, and that he had worked so hard on it that they wanted to discount anyone else, or discredit anyone else, I should say. And so it was actually a really, really tough spot in my life where my wife was going through some really tough things with mental stuff, trying to get off of some antidepressants and stuff. And it was just a really tough point in my life as an adult, probably one of the toughest. And then to have the lashback like that on top of it put me into a dark place for a little while. And I almost quit growing mushrooms. Truth be told, that's pretty rough. I'm the type of person, I don't like people being upset with me. I don't like people being mad at me, because I just don't. I do my best to not cause those kind of issues for people. It's just the way I live my life. So to get that kind of unfortunate negative feedback, that was one of the biggest lessons that I've got from mushrooms, was not actually from the mushrooms. And that was a huge learning experience for me. So Natal Moon, I would have to go with, just for all those things, because it goes beyond the mushroom. It goes through the whole process of creating it and releasing it and dealing with the turmoil from there. Lots of learning. In my limited experience, I am pretty fascinated with Paja Crown, Ghost, and Paja Hope Cross. I am not familiar with any of that, really, to be honest. The Paja Crown, I'm not real familiar with, and the Ghost Cross of it, I'm not really familiar with. How did I select the exotics that you were offering? Not sure what you mean. Oh, that's probably why I don't know Paja Crown. Yeah, I like I said, I stay away from certain individual stuff. just for, like I said, different reasons. The vibe, the energy, and he is not one, Yoshi, that was there wasn't. I didn't really have any bad issues with him in particular. It was the surrounding people. But as far as one question, how did you select the exotics that I'm offering? If you're talking about like the exotics that I have on my site, a lot of those were gifted to me, and although I haven't dabbled in a lot of those myself, I have worked them on Agar and just like to offer them for the fact that I know some haven't even really been cultivated yet, and all it takes is one person to come along and just be really interested, and they're gonna really dive into one or two of them and put the fucking work in, and that could be a big game changer for the whole broad spectrum of the community and people learning how to do this stuff. So I want to make sure that they're available because a lot of them aren't available readily throughout a lot of different vendors. Oh, Brahman, I got the True Nats. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I just did my first transfer from the LC test plate earlier in this thing here. Oh, I love it, Mushies. Mushies Mile. I'm glad you had such a good experience with that. I know you mentioned that before. Yeah, it's been one of my favorites, and I have some good friends who like that's all they want. I've tried giving them other ones and stuff, and then they come back like, no, I want the Natal Moon. And I believe it has something to do with the just I don't know, the cross that's in there. Both the Okras, and what was Natalensis, and Phobos were just extremely aggressive cultures, and that's why I crossed those two. They're both just extremely aggressive, extremely resilient, and so I figured, why not? What are you going to get from two really, things like that? Some more really cool stuff, and it has a really good vibe to it. As far as it has the hit, it has the potency, but unlike some of the Melmax and other things that are real potent, also it doesn't have the heaviness to it, like the high anxiety or kind of that feeling on the come up, from what I found and from what I've been told. So it's become a crowd favorite. Oh, Jonathan, so you're working the True Nats now too? That's cool. I didn't get spores. Someone offered me an LC of that in the in jelly for a good deal. Like I said, I couldn't pass up. Which, like I said, it doesn't take much to twist my arm, probably, but I wasn't really out looking for it. But I'm curious. I'm curious to see. I have heard it produces sclerotia too, so that's interesting. And but depending on where you go in the community too, there's people who like to separate things more, and there's people who like to group things more, and that's in all sorts of scientific communities. So, the Paja crown that you're working from Spore. Okay, my bad, misunderstanding. Jumping around too much, my brain's getting scrambled a little. But yeah, that's cool that you're working with ground. So that's the Paja crown. Is that a cross of something? Is that like what? I know you mentioned the cross of that and Ghost, which anything crossed with Ghost, you can get some probably cool stuff, I'm sure. Ghost is a really cool culture. But I'm not sure what the Paja crown originates from. But I try to stay away from too many other people's, calling card kind of cultures and stuff, because early on I witnessed some other people in the community who would get very adamant about people stealing their stuff when in some cases I had seen projects unfold from square one, and then people come in and say, "You stole this from me." And a handful of us are like, no, we didn't. It's completely different. Well, it looks just like mine. You stole it. Do they all? There's so many that look alike. You can't. I don't know. That shit's annoying too. So certain people who have that kind of mentality, I didn't want anything to do with any of their cultures, because no matter what I do with it, I feel like at one point or another they're going to come back and try to say that whatever work I put in was stolen, and I don't need that kind of drama. All right, on Alan. Have a good day. Yeah, check it out, and hit me up if you're interested in the whole group thing. If it's too much and you got too much going on, that's all good too. No hard feelings. But okay. So to cross a Haja Poke. So what's the Haja Poke? Is that so? Eviatar Siani, is that a place? I'm guessing maybe. Okay, so it's like from a land race, an Israeli land race, and Yoshi's isolated some cool stuff from that, and then crossed it with Ghost. Oh, okay. So that's a person in Israel. Okay. I've actually sent several packages over to Israel. I just sent one last week, actually. So not only are they finding cool stuff and doing it, they're getting stuff from over here too. Yeah, it sounds like you guys said, some limited information on it. Maybe that's intentional. Leave it mysterious. We'll just call it mystery. Mystery mushroom from outer space, bred by aliens in a faraway galaxy. All right, so I was going off a little bit there. The mic. Yeah, I do. That's funny you say the mic infects us. Oh, Rodman's not here. I forgot. He already left. But yeah, me and him were talking the other day, and he was asking me something, and I said something back to him. I said that's at least my thoughts, but that could actually just be the mushrooms that have already infected my brain, and maybe they're speaking for me now. I kind of feel like that sometimes. Yeah, hopefully you get some cool stuff. You never know too if it's coming from somewhere like that. Obviously, like we were saying, like completely different environment. Even if they're growing in a house in Israel at 72 degrees with 50% humidity, and you're growing in a house here with 72 degrees and 50% humidity, you're on the other side of the freaking world. It's completely different. There's so many different things. I mean, it's why people's immune systems, sometimes go into shock when they travel, and they end up, what we would call sick or just not feeling good or something, because you're exposed to a lot of different stuff, and your immune system has to adapt. Not to say that like there's just like such terrible germs there. It's just different. Yeah, it is. I think so. I kind of imagine sometimes that the mushrooms are like the overlords. It's either they don't really feel it necessary to like take the credit or get the credit for anything, because they already know so much. They're like, we're just like the aliens, kind of watching over, making sure these dumb humans don't blow themselves to smithereens or start eating poop. So we'll grow on the poop, so at least we deter them from eating the poop. Send them on a little magical journey. Show them God. Show them that they're God. Show them that God's everywhere. And then maybe they'll find themselves a bit.
Seems that in the end, you say goodbye to your friends, and all your thoughts will fade away.
I got a few transfers left. I got some jars I could inoculate too if people are still down to hang out for a while. Oh, come on, you pesky little shit. Yeah, I see the number count jumping up and down for people that are here, but I don't know who else is actually still here or not. It said 5, then 2, then 1, then 4. I don't know if people are actually popping in and out. Maybe there's some people in here spying. They don't want to say anything. I've noticed that some different people popping on the Patreon as free members that are people that I know aren't too keen on me. So I'm guessing they just want to check out, see what's going on. That's cool too. It's cool. Maybe one day they'll open up, change their mind. If not, that's cool too. At one point or another, I've pretty much tried to be cool with damn near everyone in the community that I'm aware of. I think I'm sure there's some people that I just haven't come across, or I don't necessarily go out of my way to reach out to a bunch of people, but after a while you cross paths, and I don't think I've ever done anything to intentionally piss anyone off other than just give my opinions and my thoughts based on my experiences. And some people take it personal, and that's on them. But it'd be cool just to build and build, have a cool community. Other questions anyone got? Anything else anyone's thinking? Maybe thought of last week sometime or something? It'll pop back in your head now. Or did the chat freeze? Because I'm not seeing anything. Oh, I can't scroll up, so I get it. Maybe everyone's multitasking, doing some other stuff too. It's all good. You're taking a road trip. Take the kids. Right on. Right on, man. I appreciate that. You're putting in that effort to stay connected while we're doing this. Good to know. So I know Justin will be here even if he's not chatting. He's going to be driving, picking up kids and stuff. Still tuning in. Much appreciated. Justin, if I remember correctly, you were the one who made a song too. Lion's Mane. something like that. I remember it was pretty sweet. Oh yeah, PC and some grains. Yeah, well in the chat a little bit. That's all good. What grains you running today or right now? Popcorn, drippy corn, oats, millet, all three at once. Oh, nice. Send in the grain. Sweet. That's what I'm about to do too. I'm gonna get some jars over here. Trying to debate how to get these plates out of my way. I don't have to label them right now. I will do that later because I can't really talk while I'm labeling, or else I'm gonna be labeling the words that I'm speaking, and that would get really confusing when I have plates that just say like who knows what. Literally, might just say who knows what on the plate. End up having each of your names written down as I'm trying to talk to you or something. This one's called Justin. This one's called Brahmin. This one's called who knows what. And if anyone has the time, feel free to, I don't know if it'll help or not, or if anyone, if it does anything, but shoot over to Instagram or something and share with people or something. I don't know. Might not make a difference at this point. Maybe just whoever's here is here. That's cool too. Let me get these jars over here. I'm not going to see the screen for a second. I got 28 jars I did up yesterday. I'll go ahead and inoculate now. Oh yeah. TC oats, always 100-pound sorghum that need to figure out a prep. I've never done sorghum. I believe it's similar to millet, right? I never prepped millet though when I was running straight millet. I always just did the no prep, which is what I still do with these millet and oat jars. I'm sure you could do a no prep with the sorghum, but I don't know the specifics on that, so I wouldn't want to elaborate too much. And obviously you're smart enough not to believe me because I don't know what I'm talking about, but never want to make people, some people just hear something, they go, oh, okay, and try it, and they're like, wait, that didn't work. I didn't say it would work. I just said that was a guess or something. But, so I just try to stay away from that too much. Oh, the sorghum is also called same thing then? Or Milo, millet. Dude, they're all like similar, but I guess there's some differences. Got these jars loaded over here, sprayed down. Spray the shit out of them with some alcohol. Not the drinking kind. Those years are behind me. Cool doing this YouTube live though with all you guys, because all of you have a pretty good idea of what you're doing. I've been doing some of the ones on like TikTok and even some of the Instagram ones. I don't get a lot of people that show up on the Instagram ones a lot of times, but they're spur of the moment, sometimes real early in the morning, so I understand. But sometimes, which is totally fine too. It's cool to explain the easy stuff, but a lot of times I've been getting people who are completely oblivious to what is actually even going on at all. Like they're not familiar with the mushroom stuff. Like, what are you doing? You're putting what to what? That's why do you have grain in a jar? Is that for food? It is for the mushrooms. It's nice having a little bit different crowd today that has a better understanding and go a little more in depth. Some of this stuff. And I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with. I'm sure some of you are. On Instagram, Princess of Cubensis or Angel Entheogenics. Just a couple different names she goes by, but I got some of the stuff that she sent me here recently that I will be putting to grain for the first time. She kind of blew me away with we did a little genetics trade. We're just talking because both of us have had our pages go down and we're chatting like, why don't we do a little thing? We can trade some genetics, give each other a shout out, kind of helps build the community a little bit and gets people to realize that, we're a couple people that are on the same page with some of our feelings and trying to, spread the love and just be kind and everything. And we're like, yeah, we'll send each other 3 or 4 genetics, and she sent me like a pack of like 10. And I had already sent the stuff to her, so I kind of felt bad, but it is what it is. And I got some of these, dicarion crosses that, don't work here. We'll see. See what comes of them. They say it doesn't work, but then why does it work so well? There's a couple of my early ones that I did that way, and I definitely got something that wasn't there before. I put PE and the okra, formerly natalensis, 2 dicarions on a plate together. Got a tub full of albinos. How'd that happen? Oh, when I asked around to what I consider were more esteemed and credible mycologists, the only answer they gave me was, you must have mixed up your cultures. Or that I was crazy, basically. So I did it a bunch more times and it kept working. Oh, your next round, you're going to try... Yeah, awesome, yeah. Are you doing... So now, obviously, if you're doing a little more prep with it, were you doing oats or the millet? And I guess you're doing like a soak on them then? I don't know, with like the millet and sorghum and those little ones, it always seemed like to do a prep with those, it seemed like it would just get so messy. I guess you got like a good strainer or something, but I didn't want it to be that's all over my kitchen. I used to do like the prep with the oats at the very beginning, but so here I got Natal Moon and SB10 I put together on a plate, 2 dicarions. They met up, created a little barrage zone, created some nice, what I believe is some hyphal anastomosis. I took a transfer from it. I'll grow that out too. And here I'm just going to put the whole plate right to grain also. This one is actually one that it was kind of iffy, to be honest, like as far as where they met up. Wasn't one of the best garage zones that I've seen, but they definitely crossed over each other. And you know, if things that don't even come in physical contact can exchange genetic information, then I don't see how things that absolutely do come in contact with each other would not exchange genetic information. Oh, okay, you've been doing rye. Rye, I've heard works really well. I used that in the very, very beginning, but I feel like, and things may have changed. It might be different based on where you're at, but I feel like it was more expensive, and that's why I went away from that compared to like the oats. Obviously, it's usually a lot cleaner, though, I believe, too. So, well, even the oats, you know, we talk about how dirty they are, you know, and you get like this little bit of kind of grit that's even floating around here. I don't know how well you can see that. Yeah, there you can see it. All this kind of junk up in here. People will sit and like, and I did in the beginning too, you know, sit and strain them and rinse them and strain them, get rid of all that. And after a while, I just kind of thought to myself and went, why? And some people said that would cause contamination. Like, well, if we're sterilizing so that all the way through the hull, soaked or not soaked, either way, it's sterilizing all the way into the interior center of the grain based on our sterilization technique, then how in the heck would these little flecks not be sterilized all the way through? These little, like, you know, dusty particles. So that to me just didn't, after thinking about it, didn't really make sense. So I just stopped cleaning them. And I found that I think it actually helps, I think, because it gives like it's more like inoculation points actually. Similar to with adding like the millet to the oats, you're adding more little inoculation points and spots for the mycelium to grow to. I don't know if it's actually providing any like more nutrition or anything like that of value, but that method work in bags well. I saw your TikTok on it. You mean the no soak, no simmer in bags? I'm sure it would work. I know people who do the no soak, no simmer in bags. I tried bags early on and didn't have great luck with them. I'm sure it had something to do with my technique, and I just haven't gone back to really messing with them much because I do small runs. So I do 1 jar per bag in a grow bag, you know, with the substrate when I get to that point. And so I just don't really have a need to do bigger, you know, 2 or 3 pound grain of the same thing. Here's one that'll be interesting to see. This is some Snape and Pumpkin Monkey business. So 2 dicaryons. I don't know if you can see it through the back here. Snape is not rhizomorphic at all. Can't really see it. Let's see if I can get good light. This Pumpkin Monkey business, the rhizo is running all the way through all of this. And where they met up, it got real thick and chunky. So I took a cut from there, but you can't even see it now because it regrew right over it in like 2 days. You can see on the back where there's a cut taken. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, the no soak, no simmer should work in bags. It'd just be a matter of getting your ratios down. And then, 1 second. And then just like with the jars, like you do got to do like the hot shake, you know, right when it comes out, to spread around that moisture and stuff. You don't want it, especially with like the millet, it'll clump together and stuff if you don't shake it up real good while it's still hot. And then with the jars, like what I do is I lay them on their side just to kind of evenly distribute the moisture more, which would actually be easier to do with bags because once you mix them up, you just kind of throw them over to the side. They're gonna lay out flatter than the jars anyway. But I mean, I do, it's like 90 grams of millet, 90 grams of oats, and 160 grams of water. That's basically for a jar, which is I would consider like 1 pound of grain. So if you're doing 2 or 3 pound bags, I would say just multiply that and keep the ratio the same and see. I wouldn't do like a big run of 10 of them the first time, do a couple and see how it goes. You might have to adjust because the moisture content could even, I don't know, sometimes in bags, the moisture content, you could need a little more or a little less depending. Because as you can see too, I use all unmodified jars. Yet another thing I was told wouldn't work. It's funny, I was told it wouldn't work and then found out that like a lot of the people in the community do it. Yeah, it definitely produces different expressions. Like I said, I don't know 100% the explanation for it. The hyphal anastomosis is the best things that I've found. And it's documented in mycology books all the way back into the 80s for different Basidiomycota. Obviously, psilocybe has been very hands-off when it comes to the academic end of things, so there hasn't been a lot of studies on it. But I don't see why it wouldn't work when it's well known that they stay in that heterokaryotic state during the vegetative phase where they're able to exchange genetic information. And here is another one with Snape and ape GL9, so 2 different ape varieties. And you can see a real strong barrage zone that was created there. Right, it's like a little crescent all the way around. And they definitely like melded together and then continued to grow on and through. So yeah, it's not technically mating, but you're still able to create new novel genetics. Which I mean, like we talked about before, just stress factors and things like that could. But the thing that has amazed me with it is it tends to be a pretty the expressions that seem to come out tend to be a direct correlation of the 2 parent cultures. And since they're dikaryones, they're isolated, so it's not like you're going from spore or a monokaryon where there's a lot of genetic recombination that's possible. So in 5 or 10 years, we'll probably have better explanation. I'm sure we will. And maybe hyphal anastomosis won't be the best explanation at that point, but it's the best one I've found at this point to at least give some clarity as to what could be happening. And the reason it made sense too is because what I found is when I take a transfer from that barrage zone like that and run that, a lot of times I will get an isolated single expression or 2 sometimes from that of new phenotypes. And with just running like the plate like I just did, a lot of times I will get 4. And based on, if you look up dikaryotic breeding in Basidiomycota, that's a direct, it's exactly what they had experienced in, I think it's like Schizophyllum was the genome of one of the other ones that it was well documented in. There's a bunch of them, but there was a couple that were more specifically documented. And when doing the dikaryotic breeding, it was noted that typically 4 phenotypes would arise from the 2. And that is what I've experienced from running that whole plate many times. So pieces seem to fit. Like I said, more knowledge might destroy that in the next couple of years and improve some other things instead. And if that's the case, cool. maybe just by me bringing it up, and even if people think I'm wrong, maybe they'll look at it closer and find something better, and therefore we all learn. But I kept my mouth shut about it for a while because of the hate and shit like that, but it's whatever. People gonna hate, haters gonna hate, and typically if they're taking time to hate on you, then they ain't taking time to grow themselves. Yeah, that's what I thought too for a while, and I'm not saying it's that I don't think that's a possibility as far as just the stress creating a new expression. But when I did come across like I said, the hyphal anastomosis, everything I was finding on that lined up with my experiences and observations. That's the only reason why I even put that information out there, is because it just, the more I looked into it, the more it made sense. And I spent plenty of hours reading and researching all of that before even mentioning it to anyone. And oddly enough, there's about 6 or 7, maybe 8 other people, once I put that out there in the community, even some bigger name people. There's some big name people who are completely adamantly against it, and there's some other ones who came right to me and were like, I've been seeing the exact same thing. I didn't want to say anything because I knew I would get shit on, but I have absolutely been observing the same thing over the past 6 months or so. And one was even one that I had talked to him about it 3 years ago with the PE and Oak-Crow and Atalensis one. And he even remembered that. He's like, I remember you telling me this 3 years ago. And, so he was really cool about it and open to the potential. And he's someone who was, I don't want to throw too many names around because some people haven't come out and said stuff, and I don't want other people to end up getting shit on because of me throwing names around. But again, if anyone wants to know more in private, feel free to hit me up. But the names really don't matter as much as what the observations and everything is showing. No, I'm really, I'm kind of in the dark as far as the sequencing stuff. I'm not really in touch with anyone specifically who's doing that. The last I knew about it, there was only one person who was talking about doing it, and someone who strongly disliked me. So I didn't really care to go about that route. And from my understanding of genetics, not in the mushroom world, but from epigenetics and genetics in general, just throughout biology, it's kind of a flawed science. So because of epigenetics and things, you could have the same thing and run the genetic code on it, and then run it again in 3 months, and it's going to be different. So even what some people might be considering definitive with some of that stuff now isn't truly definitive, especially because of environmental factors. There's a lot of people even who are kind of under the radar but have high-level education in some science and biology that I've talked to that even beyond what I'm talking about, believe that to be the case with a lot of these different exotics that are out there that are classified as different species. And they believe, just like I do with some of these things, that it's based on environmental adaptation, and therefore the genetics are going to express differently. It's kind of like how we're all humans, but if you grew up in Africa You're gonna look a little bit different than if you grow up in Florida. It's how nature works. And I actually believe that's partially what happened with the okra or natalensis, because when I first got that, and it was very new to over here, and it had only been cultivated a little bit, I'm not gonna say I was one of the first by any means to cultivate it. I was probably within maybe the first 100 or something, at least on the socials. But it looked completely different than what it looks now. It has completely changed. It didn't look like a cube at first at all. It had a pale green cap, like a grayish green. And now it's got like the brownish, looks like a cube. And what's crazy is I've even tried to go back to those original spores that I had, and it doesn't even express that way anymore. So just like us, these things evolve and they change. And that kind of goes back to like when I was talking about, people naysaying those initial crosses with the natalensis, okra, whatever you want to call it now. My point was when that happened and I was disputed because someone took the natal moon and ran the genetic stuff on it and said there's no natalensis in it. And I said, how do you know that the natalensis you're testing for is the same natalensis that I used? And they said, there's only one natalensis. I said, well, that's, in my opinion, bogus. Oh, epigenetics absolutely changes it. Like I was saying before, they've taken the same stem cell that was like I can't remember which one it was to begin with, but it was either a blood, a bone, or a skin cell. It was isolated. And they took that same cell and put it in 3 different petri dishes, 3 different environments. That same stem cell turned to blood, turned to skin, and turned to bone. Completely different makeup. So if there's something beyond that the ITS and all that finds, I don't know, because this is beyond mushrooms as far as my knowledge. Like I haven't studied it as far as mushrooms in general, but I'm just talking just basic like overall biology. The genetic makeup of those cells absolutely 100% changed. They were no longer the same thing. You can look up Bruce Lipton. Look up him. He's been if not the front runner, one of the front runners as far as the studies on this stuff has been going on for about a decade, if not longer. He was a medical doctor who kind of he blew his own mind basically after having some of these experiments and witnessing them and realizing that what he was teaching even was bogus. Had to kind of go back in to correct himself. Oh yeah, lion's mane for sure. Even mine, I have them in a Martha tent, and even just from one shelf to the next, same genetics will express differently. A little more airflow, because I don't have it dialed in 100%, which is fine. I don't really care. I don't need it to express exactly the same on each shelf. I grow it for the medicinal purposes mainly, and yeah, so that aspect of things definitely changes. Now, the genetic makeup of the lion's mane is not going to change just because it grows spiny one time and grows more dense one time. But the more visual changes you see means there's more genetic changes going on. That's why even things like like Tampanensis and Mexicana. Some people will argue that those are 2 different things because of the ITS, and many people will also point out several flaws in those comparisons. I'm not the most educated on all that stuff either, but I've listened to a lot of people who are, and that's where I've gotten a lot of my information. So I mean, I can't sit down with the microscope or in the lab and explain those things, but listening to those top level people who have done it, I don't know, it makes sense to me. And yeah, stem cells are adaptable, but you wouldn't typically take a stem cell, a blood stem cell, and put it in someone to help them grow their bones back. At least that was what it was initially thought. Epigenetics is what has shown that it still wouldn't be the ideal choice. You would still want to, in more times than not, isolate what you're trying to use, but they do have the ability to adapt and change.
I can see and I can't feel my feet.
And I believe, like I said, look at Bruce Lipton because he's the doctor on it. He explains it better than I can, I'm sure.
And all of my friends and all of their dreams. Who could ever see that this would come true? That we'd have to do it. We put it on the line, but this time was real, and now I can feel it.
Yeah, the C, when labeling plates, the C is for clone. Usually if there's like a bigger number after it, that was probably the weight of it. But if it's just like C1, C2, sometimes is where some of these, like it's something that I probably should come up with a better method for, but sometimes I'll do like a C2 if it's literally like a second phenotype. Sometimes I'll do a C2 if it's something I'm trying to isolate and it's the second time I've cloned that phenotype. That's a little bit of a flaw there in my labeling method. But for me, I typically know which one it is, but I probably should come up with a better way of doing that so that overall it can be followed better for everyone. Yeah, just like with the Tamponensis and Mexicana and stuff. There's, and this is throughout a lot of stuff too. Like if you look at pigs versus wild boar, you can domesticate a pig. They stop growing those tusks, you know. If you put them back out in the wild, it's something within like a couple months or even weeks or something. It's something ridiculous that they'll start growing those tusks again because their environment has changed and they now need those as a form of hunting and defense mechanism. And that's obviously like a whole organism right there that we're looking at and how quickly it adapts. Which means if we see that visualization of a whole organism adapting that quickly on a cellular level, things are happening we just do not even comprehend, I'm sure. And as soon as we do, there'll be something else to confuse us. Like I said, the trouble with a lot of this stuff too is we don't know what we don't know. And unfortunately, from my experience, a lot of the people who, not to discredit anyone or anything like that, not trying to down talk anyone, but it just, when you're within a program, it's hard to see all the workings of that program. You know, it's why people go to counseling and shit for like relationships. When you're part of the relationship, you don't see the flaws in the relationship. In the same way, people who are reading textbooks all the time and doing the lab work can overlook some of the flaws in the sciences, so to speak. and they get very locked in on what they're told, instead of what is actually maybe a little different. And unfortunately, on top of that, a lot of our education system teaches the people in the education system all the people that aren't. And so then those people have not all, again, but some, a lot, have a skewed point of view as far as allowing those outside thoughts or ideas to really be heard. But like you guys had said too, and the stress and environmental factors definitely change a lot of stuff. And I don't know how in depth the ITS in that really goes at this point. But from what I've listened to people talk about it, it seems like a pretty, it's good for some things, but can be very misleading for others, depending on what it's trying to be used for. Just like most stuff. It's like Western medicine that diagnoses based on symptoms, when the symptoms are actually the effect and not the cause. Whereas you look at Eastern medicine, they go about it a completely different way. And that's typically why people heal from that modality more so than become enamored in a system that just keeps treating symptoms. This was another newer cross I did with the albino mystery and chocolate crinkle brain. And this one was actually from a monokaryon I isolated of the albino mystery. I did that one through serial dilution just to try serial dilution, because I hadn't done that. And compared to like the grab and drag and things, which I like that too for isolating monokaryons. But I just wanted to learn the process of serial dilution to see what it was like, and did that with albino mystery and chocolate Gumby. I like using the weird ones for breeding, because those, I feel like then you already have some more prone to get some of those recessive traits. I'm curious to see what this one does. I just put some Snape and some GT LC together. Just to see. Right, a lot of times I like using, when experimenting with different things, I try to use like ones that look completely different. So that, you know, if I put a GT and then a wild Arkansas together, you're really going to not have any clue whether or not anything happened, because either one of those could express slightly different. It could just be that. But whereas with Snape and a GT, like pretty different looking morphologies there. I did it two different ways with these ones actually. On one, I took the LC and spread just the GT on this side, just the Snape on this side, let them go all together. And on the other one, I put just the drops right on top of each other. See what they would do. If they feud it out, cross each other. Now we'll see what they do when it goes to green. Another one just matched up here on some agar. Like I said, pick some weird ones to put together. So we got some Ape GL9 and Shipwreck. What was kind of cool about this one is the Ape GL9, which doesn't really go Rhizo. Once they met up, like, you know, when you match like a mono carry-on and a di carry-on, and then once they mate, you'll have like an offshoot come off of it. This one actually seemed to do that because the Ape GL9 and Shipwreck met up, and then this Rhizo growth started over here. See it? Hard to get a picture. It's all kind of melded now, but kind of like an offshoot from the Ape GL9 that went Rhizo. Like I said, kind of like when you put the monos or a mono carry-on and a di carry-on together. With the one plate, yeah, I put them on opposite sides and just let them kind of grow out and see what they would do. They met up and seemed to cross. You know, I'm not saying they crossed, but the mycelium of each crossed over each other. They didn't repel each other on the one plate. And on the other one, I had just put like when I would do a test plate, you know, and you do like 5 or 6 drops around the plate. I did that with both of them, but did the drops right on top of each other. They just kind of grew all a little bit funky. Optimal for breeding on plates. What I found is, I don't know if you can see this here. This is the last one I have of these. It's already grown out. You kind of see where the two are. There's one like right here, and then one right here. That's how I've always done it. I give them enough room to where they can start growing, and they get a little bit of like, I don't know, strength from the growth, like not right on top of each other, like maybe half an inch apart basically towards the center. And then that way they have enough room to grow a little bit as themselves and then meet up. And then I typically just like let it, you know, like here again, Ape GL9 and Standard Ape. You can see they got a really thick like barrage zone right here. I don't know if you can see, but there's like a strip where they met up and grew together really strong. And so I took that sample and then just let it kind of fill out the plate. So once that sample grows out, I'll throw that to grain too. But since this is ready to grow, ready to grow, I'm gonna throw this to grain too, see what happens. Obviously, these are both Ape, so somewhat similar morphologies, but Ape GL9 grows, you know, a lot easier. It's not as finicky as the classic Sporeworks Ape. The little nubbins apes, like the classic, and Ape GL9 tends to get bigger, denser fruits. So, again, just curious to see what it'll get. Here's where I'm getting to those ones I was talking about from Princess of Cubensis, Entheogenics. Just Orca. I don't remember what this is a cross of. If anyone's familiar with her genetics, maybe you'll know. I could go look in the drawer in a minute. I have the original one written on there. I didn't label a cross on this one. Ooh. Not gonna lie, this is probably one of the longest lab days I've done in a while with the live too, because I already done about 4 or 5 hours of lab work earlier. No, this too. Usually about 4 or 5 hours a day, probably. Well, that's not even true. Sometimes it's just a couple. Among all the other stuff that goes along with the business end of it, shipping, social media. Here's another one of hers. I think all these, the rest that I have left are from her. This one is Z string crossed with syzygy. And shout out to her for hooking me up on the trade with all these cool genetics. I'm excited to see how these do. Oh, right on. Yeah, you gotta get out of here. I understand. Totally get it. Been on here for, what is it now? Over 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours. So, appreciate you hanging out. I'll chat with you later at some point. And this one's called Kitten Princess. Not really sure what this one is. I feel like I saw something about her, that her daughter helped with this one or something along those lines. Maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. Maybe that's completely wrong. So if so, don't quote me on it. But I feel like I saw a post about that at some point. If so, that's pretty cool. Always good to get kids involved with the growing process, the learning process, and all of it. Down to 4. 4 jars left. Then we got the Noid. It's from like the old Domino's commercials. Is that a character? Bouncing around. It makes me think of. Maybe I'm wrong. That's what I think of. Again, I don't remember what exactly this cross is something. But I don't remember exactly what. Obviously, most of you guys on here are familiar with grain inoculations and whatnot, but in case anyone who is newer does tune in, you can see how I'm cutting these plates in kind of a tic-tac-toe grid. Just how I like to do it. And then I just kind of flip them all in there, and even though all the pieces don't separate right away, once I shake the jar up, they'll spread around. And here is Vader by Jacko Lensis. I feel like I think that was you, Brahmin, who had some Vader pictures recently. Pretty badass. I think I even mentioned that I had a Vader cross that someone had sent me. I haven't come across that actual culture. This is some fluffy, chunky mycelium. Oh, look at that. Almost whole. The flip. None of the A mystery by, none of it germinated. Was that, okay. I'm assuming then from the swabs. It is, even once, that sucks it hasn't germinated. How long has it been? It's good the Crickle Moon's going off for you. The yeah, the Vader monsters for sure. The CKB albino mystery that hasn't germinated. That one was pretty slow, honestly. Even once I went to like bulk and stuff. So I wonder if maybe it's just a little slow, maybe not. I'm not sure. There's always the chance of the swab, you know. Sometimes it can just be finicky. Right on, Mushy Mile. Thanks for stopping by, hanging out, as always. Yeah, we'll chat soon, I'm sure. Enjoy the rest of your day and weekend, whatever else. Swabs to Agar New Year's night. Not a problem, right? Okay. Curiosity, are you, just because I know a lot of people like to use the low nutrient plates for germinating. Are you using that or just standard plates? I've always had better luck with standard plates or even high nutrient plates for germinating. Not to say you can't do the other, whatever, and that, like I said, it could just be a swab. Sometimes swabs just, I don't know. I've had my own swabs that I know there's spores on there, and sometimes they're just a pain in the butt. Standard plates, okay. Yeah, I was just curious. Because I've been talking to more people about, you know, the low newt and stuff like that. So I'm just curious to know if people are having problems to keep an eye on where and what and all of that. But yeah. All right, that is all the jars. I'll wipe up some of this burnt debris over here. All right, well, now I get to label everything, and like I said, I can't really do that while I'm talking, so I think I'm gonna hop off here. What do you guys think? You're all good? Did you have a good time? Was this a good live? I feel like we chatted about a lot of stuff. Probably more that I don't even remember because I was chatting and doing stuff at the same time. If there's any correct way for terminology for what we call fuzzy feet mycelium? I don't know. I don't know if there really is any other specific terminology. That's pretty much what I've heard. Yeah, the only other term that comes to mind would be overlay, but obviously that's not the same thing. Yeah, I'm yawning. Woo. You get some food and stuff, but yeah, I don't know that there is. There could be out there, but I don't know of a specific term for that. And that's another thing that I found, like some cultures just do that. Even with enough fresh air exchange and stuff, some get that no matter what. Other ones, it's definitely a sign of not enough airflow. CO2 toes. I like that. I like that. CO2 toes. I'm using that now. Right on. Yeah, it was a pleasure having you guys here, hanging out while I did all this. Hopefully I did enough now that I can have an easy morning tomorrow. Probably find something to do though. But yeah, now I get to label everything and got all my jars here. Stacked all the plates over there. Go through and label everything. And, yeah. Thanks for everyone for hanging out. And I guess I'll chat with you all later. And as always, if anyone has any questions that you think of later or whatever, feel free to hit me up. We can chat about it, come up with some answers, figure stuff out together, go from there. So, all right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, enjoy your weekend, and catch you later. See ya.